Hello everyone, Alec, Alger, the SideQuest Gamer here, and welcome to another episode of my sub-series called All the Other Versions, which is a show within a show where I take a look at all the other versions of a specific game. They basically have to have major differences and see if they actually make the game better or worse. And this time, I'll be taking a look at an unofficial remastering of the original Metroid. Metroid Mother is a ROM hack released by DICE, but this is actually a compilation of 3 other ROM hacks: Metroid Saving version 0.3 by snarfblam, MDbtroid by Indecent, and Roy's by Demic the 12th. This compilation ROM hack was released on romhacking.net in 2014 and has since gained some attention as a go-to improvement ROM hack for Metroid fans who just want to play a more updated version of the original Metroid. But does it succeed in doing so? Instead of the boxy text of the original, the Metroid logo was redone to have some diagonality to it. I kind of like it, although for some reason the story text is absent. But as soon as you press start, you can already see the improvements to the NES version. A save system. These save slots will not only pick off where you left off after dying, but also keep track of how many E-tanks, missiles, and other collectibles you've acquired in your adventure so far. This is great for newcomers who play this version as an alternative, since the original has no menu for the player to see what items they have so far, although to be fair, most of the items' functions can be seen on screen like missile count and such. But every little bit helps in preparing the player for the adventure ahead, and when you start the game, you'll notice something is graphically different. The sprites have been updated not just for Samus, but for the environments and enemies as well. Bosses like Kraid, Ridley, and Mother Brain especially look more akin to their later appearances in Super Metroid. This is a nice touch for continuity's sake. I especially love seeing Samus's blonde hair in the ending as opposed to the brown hair they gave her in the original. But the graphics also change one of the more fundamental aspects of the game, and that would be exploration, because what were once really cryptic areas are now openly revealed with cracks or other distinguishing features. Take the Varia suit area for example. You can just tell that maybe those blocks need to be shot at due to looking asimilar to the other green blocks, incentivizing the player to go investigate. But I can see some saying it makes it too obvious, like the cracks in the first left path in Ridley's hideout. Now, I don't mind this for more essential items, but the cracks are a bit too obvious. It would have helped if they made the cracks very small and barely visible, but still visible for the player to be like, wait, that block looks different. But as it is, it's not something that ruined my enjoyment with the game. I also noticed they added some animations here and there, like how Mother Brain has a cyclopean eye with a moving eyelid, or how the bubbles in Norfair now move. It just adds more of a creepy Lovecraftian atmosphere to the game, knowing these things you're stepping on are very well alive. And it's really cool seeing those blue electronic doors have blinking panels on the sides. But the animations also tie into the gameplay at times, such as harmful lava having moving flames, as opposed to the stationary lava that's safe not having moving flames. This makes it so you can distinguish between the dangerous lava from the safe lava, and this is a change I don't mind at all, since players will still be conditioned to think the lava is dangerous until they wonder what exactly happens if they go into the static lava. But the best is yet to come, because what made this game more enjoyable than the original was how they implemented the beam weapons. Remember in the original how when it came to beam weapons, with the exception of the long beam that just stayed with the other collected beams, you could only have one beam equipped at a time, and that would be normal, wave, or ice beams. Well, for this version, repeat the last paragraph except change the or to an and, because now you can stack weapons like in Super Metroid. That's right, you can now have an ice wave beam, reducing the need to collect the Norfair ice beam before heading to Torian. This makes the game so much more fun and a lot less tedious, especially for the final boss against Mother Brain, where the Rinka enemies don't have to be right in front of you to be frozen. Now a Rinka diagonal of you can be frozen by a meandering wave ice beam. So yeah, Metroid Mother fixes a lot of the major issues I had with Metroid 1. But does this make Metroid 1 great? Sadly, no. Sure, they added a map where you can see the entire layout of the fortress, but Metroid 1's biggest issues were at the core. The level layout is still the giant checklist of things to do for a completionistic playthrough, and while it's optional, that doesn't exempt it from criticism when later entries made completing the game 100% a lot more fun. There's still several dead ends and hardly any shortcuts, with not a lot of leeway for when it comes to 100%ing the game. Movement is still a bit of a slog, and the game can still be boring at times. When you die, you still have to farm for health, and yes, the weapons make the game much easier, sure, but the bosses still suck. Ridley is extremely easy thanks to the stacked weapons and larger sprite. Kraid will just go down in seconds thanks to the Ice Wave Beam, and Mother Brain, despite being more manageable thanks to the Ice Wave Beam, is still a tedious slog of a time. And this escape sequence just reminds me how I'm still not a fan of the floaty jumps and landing trajectory. It just doesn't feel natural to me. So, Metroid Mother, despite making the experience more enjoyable, still suffers from many of the core issues with the original. You can only do so much with a ROM hack, and I believe they found a perfect compromise between updates and staying loyal to what the original Metroid was all about. Because if they did change the boss's attack patterns and world layout, some fans would be displeased regardless of whether it makes backtracking much easier on the player or not, or make the final boss battle more epic. And really, if players want everything to be remade with new level layouts and bosses more epic in scope, they might as well just play Metroid Zero Mission instead. So overall, despite its fixes and trying to stay loyal to the original, Metroid Mother is okay. Thanks to this ROM hack, I can actually have something to like. I'm never frustrated with it like I was with the original. Dare I say I had some fun with this game? Not all the way through, but I did beat this version in one sitting and wasn't bored. I wasn't entertained either, but my eyes didn't leave the screen if that says anything. To me, this version took a very mediocre experience into a more playable, above average experience, and if you're curious as to where to find this game, romhacking.net has it. You just need to follow the original Metroid and Lunar IPS, follow the instructions, and voila! Metroid Mother. Go have some fun.
Sidequest Gamer, why are you recommending this? It changed the original's vision!
So?
You don't mess with art. It's just like George Lucas's Star Wars special editions.
I don't know how changing Boba Fett's voice, changing the backdrop of Cloud City, as well as adding an unnecessary dance sequence is somehow the equivalent of a dated game with improved mechanics that desperately needed to be tweaked.
It still ruined the original Metroid's legacy!
No, it doesn't. That doesn't even make sense in terms of comparisons. For one, Star Wars is something you cannot experience the original trilogy without jumping through hoops. At least with the original Metroid, it's easily available for you to experience.
Respect your elders, video games, or else!
Go away, gaming grandpa. Go back to your original reality.
This isn't over. There's a madman killing sidequest gamers all over the multiverse, and he'll eventually come for you, Sonny!
I don't care. Be gone. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember to stay...
Forgot my cane. Thank you. Good day.
I just want to say, Frank, congrats on hitting 2,000 subscribers. Yeah, I bet you're glad I talked you out of making that Sonic channel. What were you going to call it? Knuckles Channel 5 or something like that? Yeah, you just got to review more Call of Duty content. That World War II beta, that was pretty sweet. Hey, Frank, I might have to call you later, alright? Hello? I think I know what you're here for. Okay, just get it over with, just get it over with, just...